at your leisure. At KBOA Top 15 TV, we've got your black.
Hey, Robin. Can you close that door for me, please? Thank you, love.
Okay, breathe.
Okay, hold on a second, Keisha. Just let me ask Ronald exactly what's going on because it takes two to tango, and I need to hear his side of the story. So she's driving me insane, cause heavy on my brain. She keeps playing silly games, and I'm please give some advice so we can see the light. See the light.
The key to your value, you've given it too long to people who it doesn't belong to. The only person your value truly belongs to, or the merit of it, is yourself. And if you have nothing to merit yourself on with your own proximity in your own reality, you will fall for false idols. So if you don't have a moral compass that's your own, or you don't have virtues that are your own, or you don't have boundaries or ideas of what your life and the paradigms of your life is about, as in what you stand for, what is right and wrong in your mind, or not even so deeply as what is right or wrong, but just as basic as what you want your life to look like, what you want your reality to be, what you want your manifestation of your reality to be, you will find worship in something else. We have gone through centuries of time finding things to worship, different gods, money, ideas. And the reason that you care so much why he didn't text you back, or that he's watching pornography instead of choosing you, is because you are giving the merit to his perception of you, as opposed to giving the merit to yourself and wondering if you even like him or her. Do you even like that person? Because we're always dancing from the frame of, do they like me? What does that behavior mean? They didn't call me back. They're watching these naked people online as opposed to wanting to do it with me. At a deficit, I mean, not once in a blue moon, but I mean choosing that over me, choosing their friends over me, not wanting to invite me, and you just become deeper and deeper in a hole of self-loathing because you are looking at the reality of who you are through the lens of the value that that person gives you. But the true value is, number one, your own viewpoint and what you value in life. And number two, to understand that there is no thing that you can do or be in order to win someone's love. There isn't. Think about it yourself. You've loved people just through the virtue of being themselves. You don't love them for a thing they did. They didn't suddenly act cool or looked good or carry them in a certain way and it overrode everything you think. We love because we love, and it's a choice we make, and love is a choice. So if they haven't made it and they haven't given you value in their life, that's fine. And the only thing you can do is detach. Detachment from the value someone else gives you is the only true freedom. Because if in the instance that he's not returning your calls, or he's choosing virtual women over you, which is a pain point for a lot of people in this world at the moment, for a lot of women in this world at the moment, you've got to understand and stop looking at it from a view of, does he value me? Does he see beauty in me? Does he want a future with me? He's not proposing to me. We've been together for a long time and that's what I want. And reframe it into a new lens of, okay, this is the life that this person has chosen for themselves. How does it suit me? Are they the type of partner I want? Do I want to be?
Ladies and gentlemen, the voice of reason. It's Monday. You already know I'm coming with a slapper. I gotta start Mondays off like this. We're talking about detachment as a form of self-protection. I've got to protect me first. You know, my mama used to say, and Big Mama told her, you gotta be around people that want you around. Don't be around people that don't respect you. Don't be around people that don't value you. Don't be around people that don't acknowledge the light in you. Don't be around nobody. And sometimes in our relationships, because of our attachment wounds, because of childhood trauma, because of whatever is our mess, we tend to hold on to people who have let us go a long time ago. Sometimes detachment is the key to self-preservation. It's time for the voice of reason with Zoe Williams. You already know I want you to join this conversation. All you got to do is call me, 1-800-920-1580. We will be exploring protecting me first, detachment. Agree or disagree? Emotional detachment can manifest when a person strictly avoids uncomfortable situations that give rise to anxiety. True or false? A person is deemed to be detached when they are able to separate themselves from an uncomfortable situation emotionally. Now listen, we framed it where it's seen as self-protection. But I'm going to tell you, sometimes emotional detachment is necessary for a healthy relationship. Sometimes during a difficult time, maybe you are going through it or maybe your partner is going through it, sometimes your partner or you may have to emotionally detach so you can take control of the situation, so you can help navigate the situation with a clear mind, with an objective mind. 1-800-920-1580. When should you detach from a person in intimate relationship? Agree or disagree? Life often throws us hurdles that may break us down. And one way of dealing with it is by detaching ourselves. This process of disassociation requires stepping back and disconnecting ourselves from a situation to look at things objectively, whether it is related to relationships, friends, hobbies, work, or other things. Sometimes emotional detachment is a good thing. But why is it so difficult to emotionally detach from toxic people? From people that are giving you nothing? You might be pouring your whole soul into a person and they're giving you nothing. Why is it those of us who do this, I count myself as one of those people who continuously pours into others when I don't get what I'm pouring into them? Why is it that we do that? What are the core reasons behind seeking detachment from intimate relationships? And how can one differentiate between healthy detachment and emotional avoidance? What's the difference between emotional avoidance and healthy attachment? How does one strike a balance between preserving individuality and forming a deep emotional connection with a partner in intimate relationships? What role does self-awareness play in detaching from intimate relationships? And how can it lead to personal growth and fulfillment? Man, I'm going to tell you right now, you need to detach when you recognize that you ain't right. When you recognize that you got work. When you recognize that your unfinished work contributes to the conflict experienced between the two of you. Right? But oftentimes, many of us detach when the work shows up. We detach from the work because oftentimes the work is hard. Oftentimes the work hurts. So we detach from the work. And if we got to detach from a partner so we don't have to do the work, well, that's easy too. Let's detach from the partner because the partner is waking up the work. 1-800-920-1580. We talking about detaching as a form of protection. But when is it too much? How does the fear of vulnerability impact the ability to practice healthy detachment? And what struggles can help overcome this fear? What is healthy detachment? Hey, I need a moment. Do you mind, love? I need a moment. Healthy people don't say, I need an indeterminate sentence. Zoe, why did you say an indeterminate sentence? For many inmates have been given something called an indeterminate sentence. An indeterminate sentence is a sentence where we don't know how many years we're going to give you. We're just going to throw you in jail and we'll think about it. You going to jail and just know you're going to be there for a while. That's an indeterminate sentence. It could be life or it could be 25. It could be 15 or it could be 12. It could be 187. It's an indeterminate sentence. And I believe many people follow this practice in relationship when they create unhealthy detachment, which is, I'm going to detach indefinitely. I'm going to put my partner on an indeterminate sentence until I figure out how to deal with whatever I'm going through. Many significant others are in a relationship with somebody right now that is in year 4 of being emotionally detached. Now, I can see how protecting your heart, how guarding your heart makes sense in some situations. But how do you know when it's unhealthy? When I come forward. The voice of reason shall dig deeper. I want you to join the conversation. I want you to talk with me. 1-800-920-1580. The voice of reason, ready to go.
The reasons that we're here, the reasons that we fear, our feelings will disappear.
All right, y'all. Let's get those phone lines lit up. Let's get those phone lines lit up. Let's go. Let's get those phone lines cracking. Where's my phone calls? We got Nazarene X. I'm going right to him. Holla at me, y'all. Yes, we need all of those likes. Let's get it trending. Everybody share the video. Everybody share the video, like the video, share and like the video. We're 17 minutes in. Can I get you guys to hit the super chat? Let's get the twos and fews rolling, guys. Let's go. I want to have a conversation with y'all. I want to grow. I want to learn too. So let's call. Let's talk. Let's call and talk. Thank you for the likes. Thank you for the likes. Thank you, Atala and Nazarene X, for calling in. Don't be scared. Live in 30 seconds. Let me get some more callers. Truemonger, get in here early so I can grab you. Positive Influence, get in here. Nzinga, get in here. I want to talk to y'all.
Something that you really wanted to go a specific way. You were obsessed with like a certain outcome, and no matter how hard you worked, you couldn't seem to get it. And then someone else comes by, and it seems like they don't work as hard as you. They put in 10 times less the effort, but they get further ahead, and you're looking at them like, this person, it doesn't even seem like they care. How did they do the thing I was obsessing about for like weeks on end? One massive paradox in all self-improvement is when you really, really want something and you obsess over it, your results are worse, not better. Today, my friends, we are talking about the life-changing power of detachment. We're going to unpack what it is, why it's important. We'll also look at 3 areas, 3 examples. We're going to look at detaching in relationships, detaching in business, material success, numbers, metrics, and detachment in happiness, and how it can really benefit you if you lean into this new energy that we're talking about here together. So I found that one of the best analogies for this is one I came up with. Let's just say you have your phone, okay? So you're tossing it up like this. And look, you can do this in your sleep, no problem. Now, what if you have this phone and you take it to a mall and you hold it over a 6-story balcony ledge and you try as hard as you can to just go, your heart skips a beat. Your palms get sweaty. You might actually mess it up because there's so much pressure there and drop the thing. The chatter in your mind switches from, I'm bored, let me just do this for fun, to, oh my God, I can't drop this thing because if I do, all my contacts are in here, all my logins, it's $1,000 that I'm going to be out to replace it, and I can't live without a phone. Even though it's the same exact act as this, when you're over the ledge, the importance of not dropping your phone in that scenario causes you
to get nervous, to mess it up, and to lose all the ability that you had all along, which is just this, the exact same act. People often wonder why they get in their own head, why they care so much what people think, why they can't seem to get a good relationship or attract someone. It's because you're placing what you want over the 6-story balcony, and you're trying to operate like this. Like, okay, I'm going to launch my YouTube channel. I can't mess it up. Okay, I'm going on that date. I hope they like me because they have to be the one. Otherwise, I'm going to be single alone forever. Okay, I really need this job. Otherwise, I'm going to be broke and have to take out 3 different loans to pay my bills. I'm not making light of any of those situations. What I'm saying is that when it's so important, becomes a negative, self-sabotaging feedback loop. What detaching and letting go from outcomes does for you is it takes your phone, whatever you want, and it places it back down here, and it says, okay, you know what, if this thing doesn't work out, I'm capable of finding the next person that does, of finding another job that does. I hope that makes sense in real, practical terms.
Ladies and gentlemen, the voice of reason. Detaching from outcomes. Man, what would a relationship be if y'all didn't come in here with all these expectations? What would it be? Can you have a relationship and be detached from outcome? See, we detach from things that are necessary for the relationship, right, to thrive. We detach from communication. We detach from vulnerability. We detach from being present. He's talking about detaching from outcomes. Ooh. He's saying if you put your desired outcome up on a pedestal, you're setting yourself up for disappointment when it doesn't happen. Why? Because a lot of people don't think in terms of the next statement I'm about to make. I was explaining this to a brother, to Tony Massey the other day. I said, sometimes people see being blocked from what you want as a curse. But if you're West African and you're used to Ifa as a belief system, right? And many African Americans practice Ifa. But if you practice Ifa, Ifa says sometimes a blockage is a form of protection. In other words, sometimes getting what you want is a type, or not getting what you want is a type of protection that comes from the ancestral realm. But we live in a quid pro quo society. We live in a transactional society, and we believe that if we don't get what we want, we've somehow been rejected, or we are somehow not enough. So now do you see how the power of detachment could actually be the conduit to happiness? Practicing detachment in intimate relationships can have a profound impact on patterns of communication and conflict management, leading to healthier interactions and fostering a more fulfilling connection between partners. Let's explore the ways in which detachment influences communication and conflict management, and how these changes can lead to a greater emotional well-being and relationship satisfaction. First off, when you detach emotionally, especially if you're working, I don't want people to think, okay, I've detached emotionally, that's it. I'm no longer allowing myself to feel. No, I'm saying do it effectively. If I have problems with emotional regulation, detaching from my emotions could be beneficial, right? Right? I'm aware of how I show up. I'm aware of how I'm triggered. I will detach from those types of responses, right? So if you're doing it right, detachment could lead to improved emotional regulation. Practicing detachment allows individuals to regulate their emotions more effectively. When emotionally detached, individuals can approach conflicts with a calmer and more rational mindset. They could be more objective. This emotional regulation prevents arguments from escalating into heated confrontations and enables partners to engage in more constructive communication. Right? Detachment can also provide enhanced empathy and listening. If I'm not listening emotionally, I won't be so reactive. Detachment fosters the capacity for empathy and active listening. By detaching from personal biases and emotional reactivity, individuals can truly hear and understand their partner's perspective. Empathy and active listening promote deeper emotional connections and create a safe space for open and honest communication. Again, there are benefits to detachment. I'm going to go even deeper, I promise you. But before I do, let me read one more. Reduced reactivity and defensiveness. Detachment decreases emotional reactivity and defensiveness in communication. When individuals detach from emotional triggers, they are less likely to react impulsively or feel attacked during tough conversations, right? This reduction in defensiveness paves the way for more productive and solution oriented discussions. Again, detachment is not all bad if you're going into it with this particular mindset. I'm going to detach emotionally from my triggers so I can focus on solutions and compromise. I'm going to detach so I can create healthy boundaries that don't have the input from my fears and my ego and my pride or my guilt and shame. I'm doing this to improve my emotional regulation. I'm doing this to enhance empathy and active listening. I'm doing this so I can have increased emotional intimacy later on, right? I'm doing this so I can decrease my desire to want to be emotionally codependent. When I come forward, I'm going to the phone lines. People want to talk. Let's do it. Everybody hit the like button. Everybody hit that like button. We're at $5 30 minutes in. Come on, y'all. Can everybody drop $5 on it? I need y'all help. The channel needs your help. Can everybody drop a 5 piece on it? If you got it. If you don't got it, I understand. Come on, y'all. Y'all not with me? I'm gonna give you that, Attila. I'm gonna give you that. to send support, shoot a cash app. I'd appreciate it. Mimi, we know you're a hopeful romantic. We do know this. But I hope if nothing else, this show has um I hope that this show has enlightened us to just how multifaceted uh, relationships are. I really hope that this show has elucidated upon that fact, right? That relationships are not all what they are cracked up to be, how people perceive them. I'm just hoping that you guys understand that, right? I'm hoping that you guys understand. You know, relationships are an onion that many people don't mind squeezing into their eye, you know. Y'all with me? We only $5 in, 35 minutes into the show. You know this first hour is about to be gone. We come back at 36. We got 2 breaks from there, maybe 3. Yes, it can be helpful. Here we go. Oh, not yet. Yes, Eric Boston. Yes. 62 years old, like you said. You can only teach the willing. That's right, Lewis Jones. That's right. Longest break of the show.
Because when I tell you the second, okay, the second that you stop stressing about, oh, if this person and that situation, or what's the outcome going to be of that, or what if I don't get this, or what about that mistake I made a year ago, or what does that person think about me now? Once you let all of that go, all of your desires will finally come to you. Because every time you question, but what if, but how do I do this, oh, I can't do this without them, you are in a state of lack and desperation. And that is literally repellent to the universe, which prevents all of the manifestations which were already on their way to you from coming to you. And that is why this video is all about how you master detachment. This is an actual thing, okay? There is an actual secret to getting all of your desires in life, and it comes from the spiritual law of detachment. And of course, we're going to break this down into all aspects when it comes to yourself, manifesting your goals, dating, relationships, situationships, other people's opinions, you name it, I've got it covered in this video. And before we get into it, don't forget that I have a podcast on Spotify, so that now you can listen to all of my YouTube content on the go. And I have a jewelry brand, which is launching very, very soon in the next few days. Please go follow it on Instagram, because all of the earrings I write in my videos on my own brand. You guys have been asking me for so long, and I can finally reveal it. So make sure you follow so you don't miss out on the launch. Chapter 1, the laws of detachment explained. See, a lot of people get it twisted, because detachment is actually very simple. If you are able to attach in the first place, then you are equally as able to detach. Detachment is the art of experiencing our feelings without letting them control us. It's when you stop taking things personally, you start looking at things objectively, and you no longer get entangled in other people or situations. And the easiest way to understand this is through the 6 principles of the law of detachment. Here we go. 1, allow others to be who they are. Stop trying to change people, fix them, or force connections that clearly are not there. 2, allow yourself to be authentic. This practice will finally allow you to detach from the opinions that others have of you. 3, do not force situations. And this will solidify your new mindset that you are good and complete and content on your own. Your life is perfect because you actively create it, and you don't need anyone or thing to come and save you from it. 4, uncertainty is reality. It is time to accept that you can't control the outcome to every single situation. Things end. The events we plan might not follow suit. People don't act in the way that we expected them to. But that's okay, and that is completely normal. 5, know that everything happens for a reason. No matter how much it hurts in the moment, or even a year down the line, it still happens within your favor. Every lost friendship, opportunity, person, or event is still working within your favor. This is really about detaching from the temporary sad moments by realizing that solutions will always emerge for you. And finally, 6, embrace it. Embrace the mistakes. Embrace the loss, the pain, the uncertainty, the negative spectrum of emotions you go through.
Woo! Detachment is up on the Voice of Reason, front and center. The universe makes no mistakes. Ooh, Lord have mercy. A lot of people in the chat room are talking about how their original perspective on detachment was negative. Well, let's make the distinction between, this spiritual, conscious, law of attraction type of detachment and emotional avoidance, right? What are the signs of emotional avoidance? People who survive a traumatic experience often engage in behaviors that help them deal with difficult memories about that particular experience, as well as the emotions that accompany those memories. If a person feels overwhelmed or unable to cope, emotional avoidance can keep bad feelings away. Emotional avoidance includes self-medicating with alcohol and other drugs, avoiding places and activities that cause you to re-experience the event, an inability to feel love, an inability to recall critical elements of the traumatic incident, feeling a decreased interest in your family and friends, feeling disassociated or disconnected from people you care about, avoiding conversations, thoughts, or feelings associated with the traumatic event, avoiding interaction, right, with people who remind you of the event, experiencing decreased expectations for your future, and the inability to see a future, marriage or children. This is emotional avoidance, right? And sometimes where this, there could be PTSD involved. Sometimes people have different varying coping mechanisms to deal with emotional avoidance. They might binge eat. They might be engaging in dangerous sexual behaviors, engaging in self-harm such as cutting, allowing thoughts of suicide to creep in, spending a great deal of money. This is different than the detachment I'm speaking of today. The detachment I'm speaking of today is one that will foster self growth. But a lot of times people look at detachment in the same way that they look at time as it relates to healing. They think if I take time, I will heal. No, the time you take, you must be working towards healing. It's not just I'm gonna have a vacation away from the problem. It's I'm gonna take time to work on the problem within myself internally, right? So again, you get some people, like I said, who just want peace. Excuse me, they just want quiet. They don't want peace. Peace is a process. Quiet is a type of escapism. Let me get to my phone callers. They've been on the line long enough. Nazarene X, get in here.
What up, bro?
What up, brother?
Hear your voice. Much, man. Thanks for setting off the week with such a powerhouse of a topic.
Yeah, man. You already know how I do. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. So, some quick resources and tools that came to mind that have helped me kind of in this department of establishing a healthy way or manner of detachment about myself. One was a book that my nanny had gifted me before she passed, and I didn't read it until like a decade or more after she had made her transition. But it's that simple book. Don't sweat the small stuff. It's all small stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, just for anyone that is a reader, you have things that'll help you learn about like nonverbal communication or communicating with empathy and compassion. There's that big Nat Chan dude, the art of communication. He has that book. The subtle art of not giving a F. That's another good one. You got the Untethered Soul.
Yes.
Which is dope.
That's a fire book. The Untethered Soul. Yes.
And I say the best for last, that relationship dismount. That cocoon mode.
Chapter 3.
It goes back.
Yeah.
It goes right back in the previous topics that you had too, in terms of giving yourself grace.
Yes.
And if you have a partner that respects your healthy boundaries as well, sometimes it's basically about, to my knowledge, instead of making it so where like your partner is the problem, when you're standing in a relationship and you're communicating in a more healthy, unified way, you don't impose that it's your partner that's the problem. You can say, hey, this is the problem. And the art of detachment, in that sense, is like, that's what you, again, how you were saying earlier, you step back, you can kind of look to your side, you can see your partner with you, and both of you can then rest eyes on what is the problem. And I think sometimes it is about self-awareness, but sometimes we'll get caught up in be identifying with the problem, or we'll be dealing with somebody that is like, well, you're the problem. It's not that we have a problem, but you're the problem.
Wow.
So I think that's where a lot of the nonsense can
Right.
get in the mix. But I believe detachment, once you find that healthy rhythm of balance, because you're being anchored in peace and you find yourself, I mean, it's okay to be selfish sometimes within context.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a level of grace that we should all give one another, especially if you're looking to cultivate, a healthy union. Sometimes we do need to step away or learn how to communicate things in a more productive manner, if that's what we really want.
Man, I love it, brother. What great insight from Atlanta, GA. We appreciate you, brother. Nephew, you can call in anytime. You already know what it is. When we come forward, Anybody else who wants to bring their city in the building, trust me, the phone line is open. I got Houston, I got Dallas, and the phone is still ringing. When we come forward, we're going to continue this most in-depth discussion.
You're listening to
Nzinga, thank you for that $1.99. We're at $6.99. Almost an hour in, 47 minutes, 48 minutes in. Can everybody listen? If everybody dropped that $1.99, we'd have $100 right now. If everybody dropped $1.99, $2, we'd have $100 right now. Can we get that right now? Can we get a $100 support challenge? Can we get it? As soon as I ask people for money, they leave. I see y'all. Thank you, Nzinga. Thank you, Truemonger. There was uno más, but I don't remember. Jay the Aesthetic, we appreciate that 5-piece. Thank you. We're at $11.99 because of that. I appreciate it. Thank you. Let's keep the support rolling, y'all. Twos and Fuse, hit the cash app. JD Aesthetic, man, we appreciate it. Aesthetic, we appreciate it, brother. Thank you. Come on, y'all. Drop that little piece of change. Excellent read. The Art of Communication, the subtle art of not giving a fuck, the unfiltered soul, don't sweat the small stuff, and saving the best for last, the relationship dismount. Thank you, brother. Sorry. Ladies and gentlemen, the voice of reason back in the building. Woo. Tonight's topic is heavy, heavy, heavy. My playlist is on fire. That was the brand new heavy. Brand new heavies. Stay this way forever. Ain't nobody gonna stay. Everybody's leaving. Detachment from intimate relationships for the purpose of self growth. Deeply, uh, I mean, let me just say this. It can help in terms of self growth, right? Uh, Buddha taught that attachment, which is the opposite of detachment, leads to suffering. And detachment from intimate relationships for the purpose of self growth resonates deeply with the teachings of the Buddha regarding suffering from attachment. The Buddha's insight on attachment and suffering provide a profound framework for understanding the transformative potential of detaching from relationships to foster self-awareness and personal development. The Buddhist teachings on attachment and suffering. Uh, the Buddha taught that attachment often manifest as clinging to desires and external factors is a fundamental source of human suffering, which he calls dukkha. The Sanskrit word or Pali word is dukkha. The attachment to impermanent things, including relationships, can lead to pain, disappointment, and a cycle of longing and dissatisfaction. The Four Noble Truths and the Noble Eightfold Path outline a way to elevate or alleviate suffering by addressing the roots of attachment. So Buddha really saw that the closeness and the bonding and the attaching to something impermanent. In this particular case, relationships. You get into a relationship and you have this feeling like you got the one and they're going to be who they are and they're going to be what you want. But then you get hit with the reality that everybody is a whip, a work in progress, and they're changing right under your feet. And what was solid 2 months ago may be unrecognizable today. So you can see that detachment has some type of value. But how do you use it? What's the difference? Is detachment more like avoidance? Is it more like withholding? I want to know. We got people on the line that want to talk about it. We got Truemonger from Dallas, Texas. Let's get him in here. True.
Yes, sir.
Talk to me, brother.
Man, protecting yourself is not always a bad thing. Sometimes you have to protect yourself from yourself, especially if you always react emotionally instead of processing things, trying to be rational and logical and whatever it is that may be going on. Ideally, I think most men want to be in control of their emotions and not the other way around, because you be able to think clearly, in my opinion. Instead of just always reacting out of emotion. You might end up doing the wrong thing, saying the wrong thing. And we already know how, we already got our backs against the wall in most situations anyway, even in relationships, because we're expected to act in a certain way, do certain things, be on a certain pedestal, and just cater to what everybody else needs. Yet nobody thinks about the needs of us, what we go through on a daily basis. How most of us just getting up out of bed and going out, and walking out the door to be. Nobody ever takes time to consider that. When it comes to that, we're low on the totem pole as far as how we get through things. So I think we always try to control our emotions a little bit better, especially when it comes to the arguing. Knowing how, speaking on from my experience, how a lot of women that I've dealt with don't listen to understand or comprehend what's being told to them. They listen to argue, and that's overly emotional in itself. If you argue more than you can have a fruitful discussion, it doesn't make sense.
Mm, Listen, a lot of women would argue the opposite too. They would argue that men, are in these conversations to win the conversation, and they are as argumentative as women are. What say you?
I'm sure some men do that. The men is not about winning, it's about understanding one another. But people have to get to that point to where they can even understand that. A lot of people are taught through what they've seen with their parents or aunts and uncles. You argue to win, or they may have been in debates. You argue to win. So I'm like, at some point you gotta get to the point where you can understand where the person's coming from, and you want to think that they want that same thing. But a lot of people don't, or they're just not mature enough to get to that point yet.
Mm, Interesting. So when do you utilize detachment?
Um, Even when I can recognize that they're really trying to get me to react emotionally, I'll fall back and more often than not give them exactly what they're looking for.
Mm.
Just
So
because,
I employ detachment when I recognize that they're unwilling to participate fully.
right,
That's when I disconnect. Oh, you're not 10 toes down. Oh, you're 4 toes down. All right, I'm out.
right,
For me.
yeah.
Hey, True Monger, once again, brother, I appreciate the insight. Dallas, Texas is in the building because of you. Listen, if you want to bring your city in the building, you know what you got to do. All you got to do is call me at 1-800-920-1580. 1-800-920-1580. Detachment can be a good thing for personal growth. I want to know how you use it. I'm not talking about withholding. Emotional withholding, financial withholding, physical withholding. I'm not talking intimate, emotional intimacy withholding. I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about having a dismissive or some type of avoidant attachment style. I'm talking about detaching for the higher good. Can you even see your relationships being fruitful? Can you? I don't even know. I think attachment is par for the course. When we come forward, more from the callers on the VOR. Great call, True Monger. What up, Will? And Latanya? What up? And Latoya? What up, what up, what up? What up, Yogi? Hey, 1 hour down. That hour flew, right? Did that hour fly by? Where are my callers? I need 2 more callers. Detachment is my middle name. Call in and talk to us about it, Yogi. We got space for you, bro. Call in. Yogi, call me, man. And listen, we would have had $111. We love you, brother Lloyd. It's the thought that counts, man. I love you, brother. I'm too detached to call.
Betrayal has been committed. How does he maintain his animosity? Why can't you open up, brother? I'm a combative man. Combative man rules on the inside. They don't show their weaknesses.
I'm too touched to call.
So William.
If you're worried about somebody you love or disappointed or upset by their choices, or like your emotions revolve around whether you're doing well or not, then you are in the right place. I'm Dr. Abby Metcalf, and today you'll learn the 3 steps to practicing loving detachment and stop your codependency. Please subscribe to this channel. It would mean a lot to me, and give a like to the video, and definitely share it with anyone you think it might help. So, there are 3 steps to understanding loving detachment and learning that I have come up with in my 35 years of doing work directly with people. And it's this. It's understanding your own motives, learning acceptance, and creating clear boundaries. So let's get to it. So step 1, again, understanding your motives. You've got to know why you're being codependent in a moment. So I'm going to share a little. I've got a 17-year-old son who does not take school seriously and won't put in much effort. We have made many interventions, but he continues really to make some what I think are horrible choices that are screwing up his future. Now, and being the Boston Jewish mother that I am, I can become really controlling, frustrated, angry with him. And as you might imagine, he doesn't like it. It ends up in less communication, more digging in on his side, and really our relationship worsens. And our relationship is important. It's the last thing he needs is not to get along. So I have to continually work on lovingly detaching from what he's doing. Now, it doesn't mean I don't still actively parent him. Of course I do. But it means I see when my own anxiety and fear for his future are driving my thoughts, my feelings, and my actions. I have to look at my motive why. And you do too. And when I get in charge of that and get into compassion and the love that I have for him, it's a very different interaction. The other motive that might be driving your codependent bus, it's likely your own low self-esteem, I say with love, but it's true. Maybe you only feel good when you're feeling needed by other people, or when they're validating you in some way. Every time you step in to take care of someone else's life or choice, you're really depriving them of the opportunity to accomplish something and feel good about it themselves. So you really don't want to do this. It's not kind. Step 2, don't just love, accept. So, accepting what our loved ones do can be really, really hard, hence my share about my son. And I recently spoke to a client, for example, who was upset because her adult daughter, who makes a lot of money, wouldn't help her son, the girl's brother. And my client was really upset and went on about what her daughter should do and how she raised her to be thoughtful and generous. And she went on about how her son had some hard knocks that her daughter hadn't had, and that she should...
Ladies and gentlemen, hour number 2, you already know what it is. The Voice of Reason is live from KBLA Talk 1580. Tonight's topic, I've got to protect me first. A deeper look at detachment in intimate relationships. Man, it's going to be heavy. Agree or disagree, emotional detachment can manifest when a person strictly avoids uncomfortable situations. We want to talk about it. I'm talking about how you can use detachment to cultivate self-growth, self-awareness. She was talking about loving detachment, to still be present empathetically, to still be present lovingly, but emotionally detached. Heavy skill set right there. We got a lot of callers on the line who want to talk about it, right? And like I told you earlier today, practicing detachment in intimate relationships, yes, it can have a profound impact on patterns of communication and conflict management. Yes, it can. Improved emotional regulation, enhanced empathy and active listening, reduced reactivity and defensiveness, focus on solutions and compromise, setting healthy boundaries, increased emotional intimacy, decreased codependency, enhanced problem solving skills, nurturing emotional well being. All of this is available. Cultivating a growth mindset. If you would just detach from the negativity or the sting of the emotions that come with it. In conclusion, practicing detachment in intimate relationships could positively impact patterns of communication and conflict management. Improved emotional regulation, enhanced empathy, and decreased reactivity. It could foster healthier interactions, leading to more constructive communication and a greater emotional well being. This is all available if you learn how to practice it. Again, detachment is not avoidance. We have to make that distinction, right? We have to make that distinction. Sometimes you have to detach from negative feelings. Sometimes you are emotionally overwhelmed, and sometimes you have to take the time to just feel those emotions. When is the time? Do you have the discernment to differentiate? I want to know. The voice of reason is on fire tonight. I'm about to call in some folks right now. You already know. Attila from Houston, Texas is in the building. Talk to me.
How are you?
I'm alive and well. How are you?
Same. So I wanted to kind of get more clarity on the detachment versus emotional avoidance because I practice detachment it's important for me as someone who gets overwhelmed emotionally easily, and I don't often express that, and it doesn't necessarily come through on my face either all the time. So I kind of have no point but to practice it. I see it as like a reset, not an ending. But I don't know. What do you think?
So I covered emotional avoidance earlier, right? And people who have survived a traumatic experience often engage in behaviors that help them deal with difficult memories and experiences, right? As well as the emotions that accompany them. If a person feels overwhelmed or unable to cope, emotional avoidance can keep bad feelings away. And like I said, uh, emotional avoidance behavior. We outlined these earlier, right? Self medicating with alcohol and other drugs, avoiding places and activities that cause you to re experience an event. Remember, the body is the one that actually keeps score in traumatized people. Your body is going to respond if you're in a place that's reminiscent of a place where you were initially traumatized. So an inability to feel love, right? An inability to recall critical elements of the traumatic event that you experienced. Feeling decreased interest in your family and friends, right? Again, this is emotional avoidance. And emotional avoidance, you see, sprinkles of that. What this is being clarified as with fearful avoidance. People who have a fearful avoidant attachment style. Dismissive avoidance go through something a little different. A dismissive avoidant was somebody who was raised in an environment that marginalized their full emotional spectrum. So they may have praised them for certain emotional behaviors and then criticized them or marginalized or minimized them for others. When that happens, the avoidant person goes inward to self soothe. They go inward to kind of deal with their own stuff. And so when they come into adult relationships, when they attract certain people, they may attract anxious, preoccupied because they want to pour in, they want to lean in. And the dismissive avoidant is a bit uncomfortable with that because they've been programmed to do it for themselves all this time. That's a different type of avoidant. This is emotional avoidance, which is I don't want to feel anything that is reminiscent of what I've been through. Detachment, on the other hand, is you making a conscious choice to say, I'm not going to be involved. This is, I'm, no, I'm not going to be involved because I see where this is going. I see what this is about. That's the difference. The other ones, your attachment style or emotional avoidance seems to be prompted by some type of third party event, a traumatic event, or some type of person, caregiver that actually helped cultivate the attachment style. This right here, this attachment is you saying, I'm gonna put me first, right? Because what I don't want to do is come into a situation half cocked with a bunch of expectations and beliefs for somebody that if they don't fulfill them, I might fly off the handle. Does that make sense?
That makes perfect sense. Yeah,
All right, all
for
right,
sure.
all right. I hope I helped.
No, you're right. I mean, I would say this too. In regards to detachment versus like emotionally avoidant. I know if I have peace with the third situation, meaning like if I don't feel any like residual um, guilt or shame or anything like that, and I'm just like peaceful with it, then I know that I'm just detaching. And I think people can confuse the two if they're on the receiving end of the action.
So being at peace means what to you?
Meaning that, like, I'm not, there's no anxiety, I'm not stressing about the situation, like, I kind of just feel like, well, you know, it is what it is, like, and in some situations, I feel like sometimes you're left with no choice because of the choice that the other person made, and so, you know, you kind of have the choice to really accept whatever's going on, and so this kind of forces you into a period of detachment. I mean, I would also say, too, with detachment, I'm still feeling every emotion, every piece of sadness, whatever the case, you know, lack, all of that is still there. Like, I'm not, there's no avoidance in it. It's obviously clearly present, and I have to force myself to work through it, right? In order to get a better understanding. Whereas when I'm emotionally avoidant, there is none of that. I mean, it's kind of like you said, you start relying on other means to block you and distract you. So I would say, like, those two things are, like, principal in the difference.
I love it. I love it. Attila from Houston, Texas. You brought your city in the building. You already know what it is. If you want to bring your city in the building, all you got to do is call me at 1-800-920-1580. We're going to go all over the country because I want to talk to everybody. Are you detached? And are you protecting yourself through detachment? I want to know. 1-800-920-1580. When we come forward, more from the phone lines. Lloyd Hinton, thank you, brother. Lloyd Hinton just hit the Cash App. Thank you, brother. Thank you, Lloyd. Hey, but Lloyd, that other money you sent is going to KBLA. I'm not going to get a penny of that. But I thank you, brother. I thank you, brother. I thank you. I thank you, brother. Yes, they do. Let's get some more callers. Yogi Fish, get in here. This cake is layered for sure. Yes, it is. I hope you guys do enjoy these conversations. Can I get more callers? Can I get two more callers? Okay, so we did $11.99 here today. All right, I ain't gonna ask no more. King Tavis is gonna start gifting Baba Zoe with equity in KBLA. Especially if y'all keep going over there giving the money. Thank you, Nazarene.
Itsy, I love you. The mattress.
Detach from someone without withdrawing your love. That's what this week's topic is, because detachment is a lifesaver in relationships. It's going to preserve your sanity and create healthy boundaries for you. But first, my name is Michelle Ferris. I'm a psychotherapist, and I love helping people create relationships that work. So don't forget to stay until the end, where I give you a bonus tip on where you can find the best support for detaching with love. So here are a few examples of when detachment works. When you have a partner that's yelling at you and you don't know how to get out of it. Or maybe you have a loved one with some annoying habits that you just can't let go of. Or maybe your partner is mistreating you, or maybe you're trying to change or fix somebody else's behavior. In all of these situations, detachment with love can be a lifesaver. So what is detachment? Detachment is letting someone else experience their consequences without trying to fix or change what's happening for them. It's really giving them the dignity to take care of themselves and make their own choices. So detaching creates a healthy boundary between you and the other person. And it definitely is going to be able to protect yourself in certain situations. For example, you love somebody that drinks too much. Instead of trying to rescue them and get them sober, you realize you're really wasting a lot of precious energy, and letting them figure it out for themselves can be a way to detach with love without overstepping your boundaries. Another...
I got to cut her off. What about detaching from the person who claims they love you, but they withhold all lovingness from you? Sometimes you got to break up with your expectation that they're going to come around. Huh? Sometimes it's you hurting you by holding on to an expectation for another. Detach. They need you. They want you in a certain capacity. But they don't want you. They want you for something, but they don't want you. And so they hold on to you while holding on to others using you as a virtual relationship Walgreens, CVS. You have the supplements they need. Maybe the person they're holding on to, giving them something that you're not. Right? Sometimes you got to detach from people who treat you like that. You might be holding on to the outcome that you've always wanted. You might be holding on to a perceived idea that, maybe they'll change, maybe they'll shift. And do you understand what I'm saying? For a lot of people, it is easy to detach from the people you have hope, right? Like, I hope this works. I hope they turn around. Sometimes it's easier to detach from the person you want to change than it is for many people to detach from the expectations they had for the person. I know that's a heavy way to look at it, but that's how it is for many people. Detachment can indeed serve as both a temporary phase to foster personal growth and a long-term approach to maintaining emotional well-being in relationships. The appropriateness of attachment's duration depends on individual circumstances and the specific emotional needs of each person involved. Look. I want you to go into this. We know emotional or detachment can provide emotional regulation and clarity. We know that, right? Emotional detachment can also provide breaking codependent patterns. We know that. Emotional detachment can also bring about boundaries, right? Healthy boundaries, which I call soundries, and better communication. Detachment can also bring about emotional resilience. It could also help prevent emotional enmeshment. By practicing long-term detachments, individuals can avoid emotional enmeshment where their identity becomes too closely intertwined with their partners. This fosters individuality and maintains a sense of self within a relationship. It can reduce codependency, right? It can create healthy emotional boundaries. There's a lot of benefits. We're not talking about emotional avoidance. We're not talking about being dismissive and avoidant. We're talking about making a conscious effort to actually regulate one's emotions, to regulate one's perspective. This is hard to do, but it can be fulfilling. We got callers on the line. Let's get them in here. Who's been on the longest? Mimi. Come on, Mimi, Jacksonville, Florida. Get in here.
Hello, hey everyone.
What up, Mimi? Welcome to the show.
I am team self-protection.
Clearly.
Okay, that was shade.
That wasn't no shade. That's just based on who you are and who you've been since you've been calling. That's a fair guess on my end. Go ahead.
Sure. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I have established that I am a hopeful romantic. I know it's a bit Disney. I know that. But doing my work, and I've learned, and I knew before, but I know now even more, that it would be helpful for me to detach from some of my beliefs about marriage, relationships, love, because I am emotional. I love, and, I do get disappointed because I have had unrealistic expectations, or I would say super romantic expectations. And I know that love and relationships, love is messy, it's not perfect, I know that. But I think I just really couldn't detach from Why can't we just be happy? You know what I'm saying? If we both come in wanting a healthy, loving relationship, why do we have to have all the crazy stuff? Why can't we just be happy? Why can't it just be a simple thing? But I realize love isn't simple.
Right. Right. It's unfortunate, but it's not. But I appreciate the wisdom. Thank you so much, Mimi. You brought some real clarity to me today, and I appreciate it. You got a seat at the table anytime you want. That was Jacksonville, Florida. If you want to bring your city in the building, you know the routine. All you got to do is call me at 1-800-920-1580. Let's get Eric from Annapolis, Maryland on the line. Eric, get in here.
Going on, Zoe. Good topic tonight. I'm definitely enjoying the show. First and foremost, the idea of a detachment, it takes work, it takes competence, it takes courage, it takes the willingness to want to work towards detachment to reattach. And we know we're dealing with people in this society, how we approach relationships. People can't even break up with the idea of how they perceive relationships in the first place. So, like you mentioned earlier, people usually have like a frenetic type of viewpoint when it comes to detachment because they've been conditioned to believe if I detach, it's going to make me heal, it's going to make me better. I got to get away from the things that trigger me or these trigger words or like boundaries that we create in society when it comes to relationships. It gives us a safe space to feel comfortable in our wounds, but we're really not healing for real. We just kind of like getting away and being invasive with the truth of who we are.
But wait, what does healing for real actually mean? So look, hold your thought. When we come forward, please answer that question. When we return, it's going to be on fire. Eric from Annapolis, Maryland is in here cooking right now. Because I hear people talk about this all the time, like healing for real. What does real healing actually look like? When we come forward, more from the VOR. Thank you guys. Appreciate y'all for being in here. You guys enjoying the show? Well, I hope you guys are enjoying the show. This is a hard subject. They all are, brother. Yes. Thank you, Pretty Brown, Mimi, 726. Thank you. Thank you, Mimi. Thank you. Can you believe it? This show is almost over. When we come back, it's going to be 36 minutes. We're coming back at the 36-minute mark. That means we have 24 minutes of show left. And I would say 8 of that is commercials. I'm just disappointed. We only did $12 today. Sometimes we be hitting lows, man, like real lows for our aggressive little audience here. But I get it. It's Monday, top of the month. I get it.
Some people won't give you the real talk introducing counterfeit pills that resemble prescription medications. Just 2 milligrams without the sauce of a few grains of sand can potentially be lethal. This isn't an ad scam, but it is an ad to make you think twice. Get the facts. Go to realdealonfentanyl.com.
Don't curse.
This message is brought to you by the Ad Council.
Don't need to preview here. Having a good credit score is one critical step to obtain a loan to buy a home. But did you know that your credit score is just one factor in getting a mortgage loan? Think about this. Lenders also consider your income, your employment history, current monthly debts, the size of your loan, and the amount of your down payment. Whatever your financial goals, U.S. Bank Access Commitment Initiatives support your needs now. Access your personal financial goals at usbank.com/access. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Big Payback Porter. There are no playbacks for the Situation Shift TV show. You can only see it live. It airs tonight at 9 p.m. tonight. There's no playlist where you can watch the whole season. They don't do it that way. So the television show will be on tonight. As soon as this show is over, boom, it's on tonight. You got to download the Our TV app. Can somebody put the link in the bio? Yes, sir. Lloyd Hinton.
most powerful tool to use. I think my story, in essence, is before I learned the art and the power of detachment, I was like a log, a stick in the ocean where I could be thrown from one side to the other according to how another person felt or what happened. Now, detachment is not, and I'll go into this more later, completely disregarding or ignoring your feelings, but it's often talked about when it comes to ideas in your life that you really wanted to happen, like marriage, having children, things that you cannot control. Essentially, you cannot control what partner you're going to meet, and furthermore, you cannot control what that person does. It's the conscious acknowledgement that you cannot control other people and you will drive yourself crazy if you try. You cannot do it. So in trying to do it, in trying to check their phone, in trying to be clear in messages, in trying to drive yourself crazy in the idea of control, you're actually hurting yourself. You cannot find and you will not find safety in trying to control another human being or an outcome. And that's what you're searching for, right? If you're anxious in life, you're searching for a stability, a groundedness, and you won't find it in them. You're going to find it in you. So you need to create a space and a temple in your own reality that stands like a standstill kind of threshold, that everything else around you is something nice and a beautiful addition to the cake that is you. And it can knock you, sure. Things can knock the cake. Things can make it wobble, you know what I mean? Things can hurt you. And it doesn't mean you're bionic or robotic. But the texture and the quality of you will not change, because this outside thing is not an ingredient that makes the cake. It's just something outside of it. It's not part of the ingredients. I think the last thing I want to say before we go into how to use it and what it means is a story. And that is, when you hone the art of detachment, you can start to breathe light and gratitude into things that normally...
Wow. Heavy stuff. Nobody is your answer. You are your answer. And I know a lot of people don't want to hear it put quite that way, but nobody can be your answer. You know, I've been saying this since I've been here and even longer. Your partner is the question. What comes up from your spirit is the answer you've always carried around within you, which is why I implore you to always be on the lookout for how you show up in intimate relationships. And sometimes detaching emotionally can provide a pathway to seeing yourself as you actually are. I don't think you can see yourself when you're wearing craving colored lenses. The lenses you're looking at your partner through are through the eyes of desire, through the eyes of craving. And as long as you're craving, you are manifesting lack. And I'm guilty. I've been doing it a long time. Man, we got people on the line. People want to talk. Let's get my man Eric from Annapolis back in here. He was answering a question for us. Can you break that down?
Yes, about healing. Healing is about, from my definition, my perspective, is about offering yourself solace and grace and self-acceptance. Like you say in your book, Will, self-authorship. The ability to transform and recontextualize your truth up from self-awareness of who you truly are. And yes, we all go through hurt, we all go through turmoil, but it's like healing or detachment or however we perceive relationships. It can be very complex for some, but also very simple for some, depending on who you're talking about and how you go about it for real. Is it possible? Absolutely. I'm trying to get to the point of detaching from all my relationships in my life, from my mother, my grandmother, my female relationships, my male relationships, but also do it with love as well, and learning a different form and teaching other people to detach, but still loving them in the same concept, which is foreign to them because they're looking at me like, how can you love me? How can you care about me when you're detaching from me or you're getting away from me? It's like, no, sometimes I need to step away to rebuild, so we can restructure this relationship to have a better infrastructure moving forward.
I love it. Eric, Annapolis, Maryland. Listen, call in anytime, brother. You got a seat at the table, brother. I appreciate the insight. If you want to bring your city in the building, you know the deal. All you got to do is call me. 1-800-920-1580. The voice of reason is on fire. Eric just cooked a whole meal. Tonight's topic, I've got to protect me first. We're looking at detachment. I want to hear from you. This is a national conversation. We're all over the country. I want to talk to folks. 1-800-920-1580. Who's on next? Lewis, Omaha, Nebraska. Get in here.
What up, bro?
What's up, fam? How are you?
Hey, first of all, Joe, I want to say I know without a doubt you had blood for the fight. I know, you did.
I did what?
You had blood to be spent.
Of course.
I know you did. You know why?
Why?
Because you know, bro. I've seen brothers from Omaha always say Zomaha.
Zomaha.
Dr. Russell Harrison.
That's right.
Yeah, Dr. Russell Harrison.
That's right.
Dr. Russell Harrison.
That's right.
You know Omaha. So people don't know. You know Kobe's mine. You know George's mine.
Mm-hmm.
You are that guy, bro. So we made you an honorary Omaha. I want you, Bobby, Jeff, and Terry to come out here and do a show with Dr. Russell and Bud.
Come on, man. I'll come out there. Let's make it happen. Let's do it.
I'm saying something, Joe. You know, when you talk about your frustration with being in this realm of life that people don't understand, that's what they don't understand because you love yourself so much. It doesn't matter that if you there or not, I'm going to love them anyway. And when you say, Doc, I call him Jay Kirsch because I messed up his name. He said, if I have lived my whole life and you ain't better, if I'm gone, then what did I live for? So, Joe, you've been telling these people this, and like the old girl from Jayville, you came in with a compliment and she said, what you mean by that? You played it smooth, but you didn't even, like you said, yo. So, but that's what that detachment is. Man, I give you a compliment and you cut it off right there. So you understand it with love. You did it with love. But you detached. And you still smooth on out. Not to say that you're trying to play or smooth simple. It's from my heart, from all the time. So let's keep this simple. 3 things, Joe.
Yes.
God gave us serenity to accept the things that I cannot change, and the courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Serenity is not what you feel after something, it's what you feel while you're going through it.
Ooh, yeah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You know, for real though,
Yes.
For real though, I think that when a brother get mad at me, I say, forgive them, Father, for they not know what they do. For our people will perish for lack of knowledge of self. Because if you know you are, you'll never argue with another brother. I'm cool. That's what they don't understand. And they be like, you're not mad? Why should I be mad? Like you said, it's me. It's me. So even if you hurt me, then I would be like you if I tried to hurt you back. And I don't hurt nobody. So that's all I'm saying, Joe. And let me tell you, you've been the master. So I see your frustration. Like people don't understand when you say, I live these many lives. It gets frustrating when grown men in your lives seem like 2-year-olds. You know, you be like, damn, this is simple. I know you don't say that, but you know that's the frustration that the freedom is knowing who you are. That's who Kobe was. That's who Mike was. That's who Bud was. You fooled with Dr. Russell Harrison.
Yeah.
I bet you listen to that Omaha cat is different.
He different now.
That's what Bud is. He's going to be like everybody else. But he's not.
Right.
And that would make you a man. I like the Pill brothers. I like black teachers, you know that. And when you say that, they make you discourage them by complimenting another brother. But there's certain brothers, you know, that Kobe, but you can tell you want, there's only one brother at the top. And when it comes to this business, boy, you've been so smooth and you're so humble. And I came across you on a negative tip because I said, who this brother got up that fuck ass there?
Yeah. Oh, no.
What? Come on. What? If it had to, you see how the universe works. If it hadn't been for that, and you still feel bad about doing, people understand. You see, that was a demotion of my spirit, man. Don't give me props for that. For the universe, led that F stuff we like to see. Cause we like, whoa, this brother is like Bud when it comes to the podcast business.
Thank you.
Confident, he wish everybody well. You know, Bud don't be, he's that dude. He said, you know what, man, why do I gotta dislike him and this day? So other people, when they fight, they don't have to play all them silly games.
Man.
This dude is out fishing right now, man. He took his PJ back because it was an Omaha day. There's an Omaha day. Bud fought on Omaha day. They didn't know that. Bud said, I got to get him out of here by 11 because my people in Omaha is partying on Omaha. It was in the club with us, dog.
Yeah. Well, listen, brother. I got to push forward, man. But, Lewis, let me tell you, man. You brought Omaha, Nebraska in the building. Listen, you can call in anytime, man. I'm on every day. I love to hear from you, man. Thank you for the insight and the love. We appreciate you. Now, if you want to bring your city in the building, all you got to do is call me. Like my homeboy just called me, man. Lewis just called from Omaha, Nebraska. Bring your city in the building. We appreciate it. When we come forward, we going to New York. That was a great call. I appreciate that call. Lewis, man, love you, brother. Love you. Thank you, man. Yes, throw up some emojis, please. Please. Please throw up some emojis. The chair, that's funny. Sometimes I wish I could just pass on my sleep. No, I'll turn the audio back up in a second. I don't want to. You want you guys bombarded by the commercials, and then sometimes they use copyrighted material for the commercials. So that's why I turn it down during the breaks. Oh, I just said that. No, because the brother was talking about being tired of this realm, right? Dealing with human beings, dealing with the frustration and the disappointment of human beings. Yes, I oftentimes ruminate on that, like just being able to just disconnect from life, from this life. To me, life is infinite. Life is synonymous with God. But this life, like this life I'm living right now, right? You hear people say, oh man, you should be happy. Every day alive above ground is good. No, not necessarily. There are a lot of people that are alive that are suffering. You know? Shit, I'm suffering. You know, in my own little hell, I'm suffering. You know? Get you like Protecting oneself from a toxic relationship requires a combination of awareness, assertiveness, and intentional actions. Here's a comprehensive guide on how to safeguard your well-being and break free from toxic dynamics. You can do this, right, via detachment, right? Sometimes it's easier to recognize the signs that will indicate whether you should leave a person or not by detaching from the emotions that you have wrapped up and intertwined, enmeshed with your expectations of them. Being able to detach allows you to pull back and look at things objectively so you can see the signs, so you can recognize the signs. It's hard to trust your instincts when you're clouded by your emotions. Detachment allows you to pull back and observe your instincts without any filter, right? We already talked about setting boundaries. Hard to set soundries, right? When you are clouded in your mind. You hear Yoda talk about it a lot on Star Wars. When he talks about clouded is the future. Difficult to see, right? When you detach, you can also practice self-care, self-empathy, right? Detach from judgment, detach from shame, right? Sometimes you can't seek help because your mind is clouded. When you get clear via detachment, you can go seek professional help. You know, this is heavy stuff, man. Very powerful topic tonight. Let's get our final caller in here. Yogi Fish from New York. Yogi!
Oh, okay. Oh, hey, Mrs. Williams, how are you doing today?
Man, I'm alive and well. Good to have you, brother.
Yeah, this is a very complicated subject because there's so many words attached to the word detachment and distance and all those things that's kind of confusing for me to figure out which one to apply. I would say I'm a detached type person, not out of not wanting to be attached, but just protecting other people. So for me, it's a protection of others from me, not so much a problem of me, but I tend to take on life on the edge, and it stretches people out. You know what I mean? So I try to be so that my way of life doesn't make other people feel inadequate or that kind of way. So in a relationship, I tend to be detached from wanting her to have to take on the challenges that I take on. I don't want her to. I can handle it, but I don't want her to have to handle those type of hard challenges.
No, I get it. I totally get it, and I respect it, brother. You know I got love for you. Yogi always coming in with another perspective, man. He's a New Yorker, man. The city's so nice they had to name it twice, man. Excelsior, man. We appreciate you, brother.
All right, Zoom. I appreciate it, man.
Thank you for the call, man. Always welcome. Listen, let me just tell y'all. You know, I like to stretch your perspective. I like to stretch the way you see things because, like I said, a lot of times, man, we don't have these types of conversation. We think we're having these types of conversations, but we're really not. So I love fostering and curating this discussion. Again, many people who practice detachment, they're doing it out of self-preservation. They're doing it out of fear of abandonment or rejection. They're doing it maybe for personal growth. Hopefully they're doing it for personal growth. You know, maybe they're doing it because it's born out of an unhealthy attachment style. Either way, I think to take a conscious step towards doing it so you can see yourself, so you can look, right, objectively at things. I think that's where you take advantage of it. And I think it could give you a clearer perspective when dealing with other people. Because remember, and I know people don't want to hear this, as much as you think you know your partner, you don't really know your partner. They are largely a mystery to you. That's because they're largely a mystery to themselves. right? They know that there are certain areas of themselves that they're supposed to deal with, but what keeps them a work in progress is the fear of the pain that's going to be experienced when they start to peel the layers of themselves back. So if they're not doing that for themselves, they're definitely not going to do it for you, and they can never be trusted as being their true self. So when you decide to attach yourself to a person who is just still trying to figure out exactly who they are, if you apply any expectation to them, you are setting yourself up for disappointment. Let me just say this. As soon as my show concludes tonight, my television show, a brand new episode airs tonight. I want everybody that's listening within the sound of my voice, please download the Our TV 78 app. If you download the Our TV, OUR TV 78, if you download the app right now, what you're going to get is my show is going to pop up at 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, my television show. It's called The Situation Shift with Zoe Williams. And when I tell you it's gaining popularity and traction, ain't no joke. Go check it out now. All right, up next, Jill Monroe, RSVP. She gonna keep it lit. I'll see y'all tomorrow with another slapper. Deuces. Appreciate y'all. Love y'all.